Caleb stood at the entrance of his new dorm room, holding a small bag and looking around nervously. The building was part of the Interspecies Exchange Academy, located on a peaceful planet known as Ron. It was a place where humans and aliens studied together to build better understanding. Caleb was one of the few humans selected for the program this year. He was both excited and unsure of what to expect. He stepped inside slowly. The room was clean and bright. Soft lights glowed from the walls, and the furniture looked modern, though clearly alien in design. There were 2 beds, 2 desks, and a shared central space. It felt quiet, too quiet. "Hello," Caleb called out. A moment later, the door on the opposite side opened, and his new roommate stepped in. She was tall and slim, with light blue skin and soft glowing patterns that moved gently across her arms. Her hair was silver and long, and her eyes were large, almost like they reflected stars. "Hi," she said, her voice gentle but curious. "You must be Caleb." "I'm Ayari." Caleb smiled, though he was a bit stunned. She looked different than any being he had met before. "Yeah, that's me. Nice to meet you." They shook hands. Her fingers were longer than his, and her skin felt smooth and cool. "Have you ever shared a space with a human before?" he asked. "No," she said, smiling shyly. "This is my first time. Your kind is ... new to me." They spent the rest of the evening talking. Caleb learned that Ayari came from a species called the Scifi. Her people were known for their deep emotional awareness and peaceful nature. They didn't have strong armies or big cities. Instead, they focused on science, art, and connecting with other species through feelings. As they talked, Caleb felt more comfortable. Ayari seemed friendly, even if she was different. By bedtime, they were already laughing about how confusing each other's customs could be. But the strange part began the next day. In the morning, Caleb woke up early. Ayari was still asleep, so he quietly went to the window and looked out. He missed Earth a little. The sky here was purple, and the sun rose in soft waves of green and gold. It was beautiful, but not home. He thought about his friends back on Earth. He wondered what they'd say if they knew his roommate was a glowing blue alien girl. The thought made him smile and feel a little shy. He didn't mean anything wrong by it, it was just funny to imagine. But behind him, he heard something. A soft hum. He turned around. Ayar. I was still lying in bed, but her skin had started to shimmer faintly, almost like ripples across a pond. The patterns were gentle, but moving. Her breathing had changed slightly to calmer, deeper. Caleb blinked. Ayari. She slowly opened her eyes. "Yes, your skin is glowing a little," he said, not wanting to sound rude. She looked down at herself and tilted her head. "Is it strange? I must be dreaming." She went back to sleep, and Caleb shook his head, thinking it was probably just part of her species' way of sleeping. But it didn't stop. Later that day, when they were studying in the room, Caleb thought about something funny from a human movie. As he smiled quietly, Ayari gave a sudden soft laugh at the same time. "What are you laughing at?" he asked, surprised. "I don't know," she said, frowning gently. "I just felt like laughing." They both paused. The moment felt odd. Caleb shrugged. "Maybe it's just coincidence." The next evening, Caleb sat on his bed, trying to relax. He had been thinking about how lucky he was to be here. He felt proud, but also nervous. Part of him wondered what Ayari thought of him. He didn't want to be annoying or strange to her. Suddenly, she looked up from her desk. "Caleb, are you feeling something strong right now?" she asked. He froze. "Why, my arms feel warm, and the patterns won't stop shifting. This usually only happens when I'm near someone who's thinking with emotion." Caleb's heart skipped. "I wasn't trying to do anything. I don't think you are. But I wonder." She stood and walked over to him, her patterns still glowing faintly. "Your thoughts, they might be syncing with you." "Yes, it's rare, but our kind sometimes forms emotional links with others when we live close and share space." Caleb looked at her with wide eyes. "But we just met. Sometimes that's all it takes," she said softly. They stood in silence for a moment, both unsure what it meant. Yari smiled gently. "Don't worry, I'm not scared. It just means we'll need to be careful. Emotions are powerful." Caleb nodded slowly. "Yeah, they are." He didn't understand everything that was happening, but he knew one thing: his life had just become much more complicated, and much more interesting. Caleb tried not to think too much about what Ayari had said the night before. Emotionally, links, glowing skin, sinking thoughts. It sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie, but this was real, and every time he looked at her, he noticed a soft shifting light on her arms. It was calm now, but still there faint waves of light running under her skin. They continued their classes together. The academy was full of different species, some tall with wings, others small with floating limbs, but no one paid too much attention to Caleb and I. They looked like normal students on the outside, but something had changed between them. During lunch, Caleb told a funny story about his dog back on Earth. As he spoke, Ayari laughed harder than usual. Her face even turned a shade brighter, and small sparkles moved across her cheeks. He paused. Was it that funny? She blinked and looked away. No, I mean yes, but it wasn't only the story, it was how you felt telling it. It was warm and kind. I felt that. You felt my feelings, he asked. She nodded. Yes, not the thoughts, not the words, but the feeling behind them. And your memory of the dog made my heart beat faster. Caleb sat back slowly. This is wild. To me, she said softly, it feels natural. My kind doesn't bond easily, but when we do, it's strong. You are different, Caleb. Your thoughts are loud, not noisy, just full of color. Caleb laughed a little. That's the first time someone called my brain colorful. They smiled at each other, but Caleb felt something deep in his chest. He wasn't sure what it was, maybe curiosity, maybe fear. He liked Ayari, but he didn't understand what was happening between them, and he didn't want to hurt her or mess things up. That night, Caleb sat at his desk, trying to study. He tried to focus on a lesson about ancient galactic lore, but his mind kept drifting. Every time he glanced at Ayari, who was reading quietly across the room, his thoughts wandered again. And each time they did, her patterns moved faster. He stood up quickly and walked to the kitchen area to grab some water. He took a deep breath. Okay, don't think about her. Don't imagine anything, just drink water. He walked back and Ayari was staring at him with wide eyes. Your heart rate spiked, she said softly. Did something scare you? Caleb stared at her. How did you know that? I felt it, she whispered. Your heartbeat echoed in me. He sat down slowly. This is getting stronger, isn't it? Yes, she replied. And it's because we live together. Partly, she said, but also because you're open. Most minds stay hidden. Yours lets emotion move freely. I don't think you even realize it, he sighed. I just don't want to make things weird. You aren't, she said, walking closer. But we should talk about this. He looked up at her. Talk about what? Boundaries, she said. My body reacts because of the bond, but it can become confusing. If you think something strong, it might affect me in ways I can't control, like how, he asked, my skin may harden or soften, my senses may become sharp. If you think of flying, my balance may shift. If you feel fear, I may feel pain. If you feel closeness, I may feel heat. It's not always safe, Caleb swallowed. I don't mean to think anything strange. I know, she said gently. And I don't blame you, but I think we should make a plan. They decided to test the bond with simple emotions. Caleb thought about water. Rivers, and swimming. Ayari said she felt cool, like standing in a breeze. Next, he thought of his favorite meal, warm bread and soup on a cold day. She closed her eyes and smiled. That feels cozy. Then, he thought, of fear, falling, failing, being alone. Ayari flinched. Stop, please. He opened his eyes quickly. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's okay, she said, holding her head. Just proves the bond is real. They sat in silence for a while. Caleb felt guilty, but also amazed. They were learning something new together, something powerful. Ayar, I finally looked at him. Do you want to keep learning about it? He nodded. Yes, but only if you're okay. I am, she said. But we have to be careful. Emotions are like fire. Warm and helpful, or dangerous if left wild. Caleb smiled at her. Then we learn to control the fire. She smiled. Back together. Days passed, and Caleb and Ayari grew closer. Their unusual bond was no longer a secret to them. They learned to recognize when emotions flowed between them, and Ayari became better at controlling her body's responses. The shimmering patterns on her skin appeared less often, and only when Caleb's feelings were very strong. One afternoon, during a free period, Caleb and Ayari sat together in the common study hall. The room was filled with students from many different species. Some were busy reading, others whispered quietly, and a few exchanged friendly jokes. Caleb was trying to focus on his book, but Ayari kept looking at him. Suddenly, she touched his arm lightly. Caleb, she whispered, do you feel it too? He blinked. Feel what? The attention. Some of the others have noticed something strange about us. Caleb looked around. Sure enough, a few students were glancing their way. Some had curious looks, others seemed confused. No one was being rude, but the feeling of being watched made Caleb uncomfortable. Maybe they're just curious, he said. Ayar. I nodded. Yes, But we should be careful. If they talk, rumors could spread. Caleb frowned. I don't want to cause trouble. Neither do I, she said softly. Later that evening, back in their room, they talked about what had happened. Do you think we should explain? Caleb asked. Not yet, Ayari replied. We need to understand this bond better before others get involved. Caleb agreed. He wanted to keep things normal, but normal was becoming harder the next day. During a group project, Caleb thought about something exciting, a dream he had about flying through the stars. As the thought entered his mind, Ayari's skin began to glow softly, and her balance shifted slightly. She steadied herself quickly but did not hide the reaction. A classmate, a tall alien named Merrick, noticed. He raised an eyebrow and whispered to another student, Look at Ayari. She changes like the stories say. Caleb heard this and felt a mix of embarrassment and worry. After class, he approached Ayari. Did you see that? He asked. She nodded. Yes, I think Merrick has heard legends about my people's emotional bonds. What kind of legends? Caleb asked. Some say that when a Solari bonds deeply, their body changes to show their partner's feelings. It can be beautiful but also dangerous. Caleb thought about the glowing skin, the shifting patterns, and the times her senses sharpened. Dangerous how, if uncontrolled, it could cause harm to Ayari, to me, or even to others nearby, she said quietly. Caleb took a deep breath. We need to learn to control it better. Ayari smiled slightly. Yes, and I want to try something new. Over the next week, they practiced meditation together. Caleb learned how to calm his thoughts and control his emotions more clearly. Ayari learned to listen to the signals from his mind without reacting too quickly. One evening, they sat on the small balcony outside their room. The sky was filled with stars, and the planet's 2 moons glowed softly. Ayari said, I feel something different now. A calm connection, like a gentle river between us. He smiled. Me too, it feels good. They talked for hours about their hopes, fears, and the future. Caleb told Ayari about Earth, its mountains, oceans, and people. Ayari shared stories of her home planets, forests, and quiet rivers. Their friendship grew stronger, built on trust and understanding, but not everyone was happy. A few days later, during a class meeting, the teacher brought up the topic of emotional bonds. She warned the students to be cautious, saying, bonds like Ayari's are rare and powerful. They should be respected and never taken lightly. Caleb felt the weight of her words. He looked at Ayari, who nodded slightly. After the meeting, Merrick approached Caleb. You and Ayari are different, he said bluntly. People talk. Caleb met his gaze. So what? Merrick shrugged. Some fear what they don't understand. Caleb stood taller. Then we'll show them that understanding is stronger than fear. Ayari smiled quietly. You are brave. Caleb, he smiled back. We'll face it together. As the days turned to weeks, Caleb and Ayari faced curious looks and whispered questions, but their bond, once strange and confusing, became their strength. They knew that, whatever others thought, they had each other, and that was enough. Caleb and Ayari had spent many days learning to control their strange connection. The glowing patterns on Ayari's skin no longer surprised them. Now, they knew, they could calm or spark them with simple thoughts and feelings. One afternoon, they sat in their shared room working on a science project. Caleb was focusing hard, trying to understand a complex diagram about energy flow between stars. Ayari sat nearby, quietly watching him. Suddenly, Caleb remembered a moment from his childhood on Earth. He thought of his small hometown, the fields, of tall grass, and the peaceful river near his house. A soft smile spread across his face. Without warning, Ayari's skin shimmered gently, and a warm glow spread over her arms and neck. She closed her eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. Caleb noticed immediately. Are you okay? Ayari opened her eyes and smiled softly. Yes, your memories are peaceful. They help me calm. He nodded. I'm glad. They worked together quietly for a while, enjoying the calm feeling between them. But later that evening, things changed. A loud knock came at their door. Caleb opened it to find a visitor, a tall alien official wearing a dark uniform. His eyes were sharp and his expression serious. I am Officer Renner, the alien said. I have heard reports about your unique bond. This is unusual and must be examined. Caleb stepped forward, feeling a mix of fear and protectiveness. We're just roommates. We're learning about it. Rena's eyes narrowed. Such bonds can be dangerous. Uncontrolled emotions can lead to accidents or worse. Ayari spoke quietly. We understand the risks. We are taking care. Rena looked at both of them. I will be watching. If there is any sign of harm or misuse, there will be consequences. After Rena left, Caleb closed the door and leaned against it, breathing heavily. He thinks we're a threat, Caleb said. Airi nodded. He is cautious. It is his duty, but it feels like a warning. Caleb paced the room. I don't want trouble. I just want to study and live in peace. Airi touched his arm gently. We will be careful together. The next day, word of the officer's visit spread quickly through the academy. Whispers followed Caleb and Airi wherever they went. Some students looked at them with curiosity, others with suspicion. Caleb noticed how Ayari's skin sometimes flashed with soft colors when she was near him, sometimes bright, sometimes dim. It was clear the bond was stronger under stress. One afternoon, during a group discussion, Caleb thought about protecting Ayari. The feeling of protectiveness was strong and clear. Immediately, Ayari's body responded. Her skin hardened slightly, her senses sharpened, and her posture became alert. A few students gasped softly. Caleb saw their surprised faces and quickly said, "It's just how she reacts when I feel protective. It's nothing dangerous." Ayari nodded. Caleb's feelings helped me focus, but the reaction worried both of them. If their bond could cause such physical changes, what else could happen? That night they talked about the dangers. We cannot let this get out of control, I said. Our bond can protect, but it can also cause harm if we are careless. Caleb agreed. We need rules, ways to stop reactions before they become too strong. They worked together to create simple signals, a touch, a word, or a gesture to calm each other. When Caleb felt a strong emotion rising, he would say steady, and Ayari would breathe deeply and relax her skin. When Ayari felt overwhelmed, she would touch Caleb's hand and say calm, and he would focus on peaceful thoughts. These small acts helped them control their bond. One day, as they practiced, Caleb had a new idea. What if we use this bond to help others? He asked. Ayar. I looked thoughtful. It could teach others about empathy and connection. Yes, Caleb said. We could show that emotions, even powerful ones, can be shared safely and used for good. Ayari smiled. We would be ambassadors for peace. They decided to talk to their teachers about their plan, though nervous. Caleb and Ayari presented their idea with honesty and hope. The teachers listened carefully. Some were surprised, but others were interested. But one teacher said, "Your bond is unique. If controlled well, it could be a great gift to many." Caleb and Ayari felt encouraged that they knew their journey was just beginning. Outside their room, the galaxy was watching, and they were ready to face whatever came next. Together. Caleb and Ayari worked hard to control their bond. They practiced daily, using the signals they made to calm strong feelings. The glowing patterns on Ayari's skin became less surprising, and their connection grew stronger in a good way. One morning, Ayari shared a story from her people's history. She told Caleb about ancient times when her ancestors used similar bonds to build peace between different species. Long ago, she said, our people formed these bonds to share understanding and trust. It helped stop wars and bring many races together. Caleb listened carefully. So this bond is a gift. Yes, Ayari smiled, but also a responsibility. It must be treated with care. Caleb nodded. Then we have to show others how to respect it. They decided to start small. They invited a few close friends to learn about their bond and how to control emotions. At first, some friends were curious but nervous. They worried about what the bond might do. Caleb and Ayari explained patiently. They showed how to use the signals and how important trust was. Slowly, their friends began to understand. Some even said they felt calmer when near Ayari. The group grew, and Caleb and Ayari became teachers of emotion control. This new role made them proud but also more responsible. One day, during a group meeting, a new student arrived. His name was Lorraine, a serious alien from a distant planet known for strong warriors. Lorraine watched Caleb and Ayari closely. He did not speak much but seemed interested. After the meeting, Lorraine approached them. Your bond is strange, he said, quietly, but I see strength in it. Caleb smiled. It is powerful, but only when controlled. Lorraine nodded slowly. My people fight with strength and honor. Perhaps your bond is another kind of strength. Ayari smiled warmly. Yes, it is strength of heart and mind. They invited Lorraine to join their group. Over time, Lorraine learned to use the signals and calm his own strong emotions. This helped him in his training as a warrior. Caleb and Ayari realized their bond could help even the toughest individuals, but with new students came new challenges. Some students were still afraid or jealous. Rumors started to spread again. One day, during a training exercise, Caleb thought about protecting Ayari. The feeling was so strong that Ayari's skin flashed bright blue, and her muscles tensed. Some students gasped. A few whispered that the bond might be dangerous. Caleb quickly said, "This is how the bond works. It helps protect. We are in control." Ayari nodded. "We have trained for this." The teachers watched carefully. Some were impressed by their control, others remained cautious. After the exercise, Caleb and Ayari met with the teachers. "Your bond is impressive," one teacher said, "but it must always be used with care." Caleb agreed. "We understand. That is why we keep training and teaching," Ayari added. "We want others to learn respect and control too." The teachers smiled. "Then you have our support." Caleb felt hope. They were changing minds slowly. One evening, Caleb and Ayari sat on their balcony, watching the stars. "Do you think we will ever be normal?" Caleb asked softly. Ayar. I looked at him. "Maybe normal is not the goal. Maybe being true to ourselves is." Caleb smiled. "I like that." They sat quietly, knowing their bond was special. It was a journey filled with challenges, but also with hope. Together, they would face whatever came next. Caleb and Ayari's bond had grown stronger. They had learned how to control it well. But the galaxy around them was not always calm. One morning, a message arrived at the academy. It was from the Planetary Council, the group that kept peace among many worlds. The message said they wanted to meet with Caleb and Ayari. The council had heard rumors about their bond and wanted to understand it better. Caleb felt nervous. Ayari looked calm but serious. "This could change everything," she said quietly. They prepared for the meeting. The council hall was large, and filled with many officials from different species. Some looked curious, others doubtful. The council leader spoke first. "We have heard of your unusual bond. Some say it is dangerous, others say it is a gift. We want to know the truth." Caleb took a deep breath. "Our bond is real, and it connects us in ways that help us understand each other better. It is strong, but we have learned to control it." Ayari nodded. "It is not a weapon, it is a way to share feelings and build trust." One official asked, "What if this bond is used to control others?" Caleb looked at Ayari and then back. "At the council, we cannot control others with this bond. It is a shared connection. Both sides must agree and feel safe. It is built on respect." Another official smiled. "This is different from what we know. It could help peace." The council discussed many things. After hours they decided to watch Caleb and Ayari for a time to learn more. The decision was careful but hopeful. After the meeting, Caleb and Ayari felt relief. They knew they had work ahead but also a chance to change how others saw them. Soon, the academy asked them to teach a special class on emotional bonds and empathy. Caleb was nervous but proud. Ayari stood beside him, calm and confident. Class was full of students from many worlds. Some wanted to learn how to understand others better. Others were curious about the strange glowing patterns on Ayari's skin. Caleb spoke simply. "This bond is about trust and respect. It helps us share feelings without words." Ayari showed how the skin patterns changed with emotion and how they learned to control the changes. The students practiced the calming signals and shared their feelings in safe ways. Slowly the class grew and more students wanted to join. Caleb and Ayari felt happy. Their bond was no longer just theirs. It was becoming a symbol of peace and understanding. But not everyone was pleased. One day, an old rival species sent a message. They warned the academy to stop Caleb and Ayari's teachings or face consequences. The academy prepared for possible conflict. Caleb and Ayari knew they had to be strong. They trained harder and taught more students. Then a sudden attack came from a small group trying to stop the new ideas. Caleb and Ayari used their bond to stay calm and protect others. Ayari. Single quotes as skin glowed bright, and Caleb's mind focused clearly. Together they helped their friends avoid danger. After the attack, the academy praised them. Caleb said, "Our bond is not just between us, it is for all who want peace." Ayari smiled, "And together we can face any challenge." The galaxy was changing, and so were they. Caleb looked at Ayari and said, "We started as roommates, but now, we are something more." She took his hand gently. "Yes, partners in all things." Under the stars, they knew their journey was far from over, but together, they were ready for whatever came next. Caleb and Ayari stood side by side in the academy's large hall. Today was a special day. After months of study and teaching, they were ready to show the galaxy what their bond truly meant. The hall was full of important guests from many planets. Officials, teachers, and students watched quietly as Caleb and Ayari began. Caleb spoke first. "Our bond started as something strange and new. It surprised us and sometimes scared us. But we learned that it is a gift, one that connects us in ways words cannot. Ayari's skin glowed softly, the colors moving gently like calm waves. This bond is built on trust, respect, and understanding. It is not a tool or a weapon, it is a bridge between hearts and minds. They showed how their connection worked. Caleb thought peaceful thoughts, and Ayari's skin changed colors slowly and calmly. Ayari shared feelings of hope, and Caleb smiled with warmth. Then, they invited a few students to try simple exercises. The room filled with soft lights and gentle energy as students practiced calming signals and shared feelings. The audience watched in awe. Many whispered that this was the future of peace in the galaxy. After the demonstration, the council leader stood. "We have seen something rare and powerful today. Your bond shows us a new way to connect and understand," he continued. "We will support your work and encourage others to learn from you." Caleb and Ayari smiled, feeling relief and pride. Later, as the hall emptied, Caleb looked at Ayari. "We did it." She took his hand gently. "Together we changed many minds." They walked outside into the cool night air. The two moons shone above them, casting soft light on the peaceful world. Caleb said quietly, "Do you remember when we first met? I was so nervous." Ayari laughed softly, "And I was curious and a little afraid." "Now," Caleb said, "we are partners, friends, maybe even more." Ayari's eyes glowed warmly. "Yes, we have a bond deeper than words." They sat together on a nearby rock, looking up at the stars. "Our journey was not easy," Ayari said. "There were doubts, fears, and challenges. But we never gave up," Caleb replied. "And now, we have a future," Ayari said. Caleb smiled. "A future where understanding and peace are stronger than fear and hate." They sat quietly, feeling the connection between them and the universe. In that moment, Caleb knew his life had changed forever. His alien roommate was no longer just someone he lived with. She was his closest friend, his teacher, and his companion. As the night deepened, they talked about their dreams of traveling to new worlds, teaching others, and building a galaxy where bonds like theirs could bring hope to all. And under the quiet stars, their bond glowed softly, a light for the future.